For the second edition of DreamHack Masters, the arena moved overseas to the City of Sin, Las Vegas. It was a stacked tournament, with every top team attending to get their hands on the trophy. Astralis came in as the favorites, winning the Atlanta Major just 1 month before, beating Virtus Pro in the finals.
The motivation was really high after the major, so we tried our best, and we wanted so much the win there, in the Las Vegas on DreamHack. So I think that was the force that gave us power.
As he dances back and forth between the box, what a shot on Simple! Oh, and it's on to Flamey. He's tapped it. Flamey's got a big! What in God?
I always like to play like if there is a lot of crowd. I love the crowd applause and the shouting. That's the best thing.
For Virtus Pro, now was the time for revenge.
I remember exactly the time when we are up to playing Astralis. I said in the interview, I think it's the first of my interview in English.
I think on Major we threw a game, we had a lot of good situation and we lost it like noobs.
Very quickly, Snacks who managed to get in behind and taking down Dupree. Kevy will drop next in line. Device goes down to Snacks, and now it's Sip 1 versus 3. Virtus Pro, unstoppable. 9 rounds in a row.
Throughout the tournament, Virtus Pro plowed through the competition, besting Astralis in the semifinals. Only SK remained.
We always had the great matches versus them. It was for sure close.
Perfect. Taco gets him down. No chance for Passion. A strike. Nice shot. Snacks up close. And a straight flash high in the sky. They won't be able to dodge. Means he can go back for more. And he certainly will. Finds a second and a third. Snacks on fire. What a shot! As he picks up a fifth for Virtus Pro to close that.
If I remember good, Taz clutched versus SK, like 1 versus 2 on A side. That gives us like advantage in the economy, and probably of this clutch we were pumped up and wanted to win a tournament.
Nice shot from Taz. Colt down, gives him the bomb plant. Very important that he gets it. But Phelps is aggressive. I'm impressed with how aggressive he's been in this series. Certainly warming up to the fact that he's on SK and he's got a teammate directly beside him. Taco work together, but they don't go in the same peak. Oh! Utility used a Molotov inside of the window and a smoke at the door. Taco, he's held out of position. He'll Molotov off on Cat because he knows one's there, but it's already found. Neo gets it. And Virtus Pro, they'll pick it up. They were determined all week.
One of the most satisfying moments was the photo when Pasha jumped on my back and we were like holding like one finger in the air that we are number 1, and that's the most satisfying thing for me to see this photo, and it's like really close to my heart also. The Pasha is a great man. So.
And once again, the Polish machine had made their way into the history books.
We're 1 day into our search for a new legacy. Who'll be picking up the mantle? And who, if anyone, will be losing like noobs? We'll soon find out. Welcome to day 2 of DreamHack Masters Winter.
DreamHack Masters Winter is brought to you by Intel, Corsair, Monster Energy, and MSI.
Welcome to DreamHack Masters Winter. My name is Frankie Ward, and yet again I did not get the memo that we would be suiting up today, but these gentlemen thankfully have Scrawny and Launders. It just look really cool. Just talk me through this look.
It's a shirt and then a jacket, and his is a shirt with a jacket on top, but he's got the pocket square because he told me that it's in our contract that he always looks a little bit better.
Yeah, that's kind of how the pocket
I leave the
square.
pocket square. The pocket square actually costs more than the jacket.
I actually bought a pocket square the other day for me fiance because he's doing up the house while I'm away, and it's like a dinosaur with a top hat. So.
And you guys caught a mouse.
We did catch a mouse, yeah. Just update you all on my personal life because I know you're really super interested in Twitch chat. We caught a mouse, or at least my fiance did, but I'm taking credit for it. We've caught it in a humane trap. It has now been set loose in a park far, far away from my house, where it hopefully is not going to get immediately attacked and eaten. Good luck to you, Mousimus. We won't miss you because you pooed everywhere. Right, let's talk about people who are fabulous and definitely should require some attention. They are our sponsors, and we couldn't do this without them. Of course, Monster Energy, Corsair, Intel, MSI, and the US Air Force. Thank you all for supporting Counter-Strike events like this one. We love you. And we love the teams that we have going on. And we had so much action yesterday. So I think actually we should start recapping that. So we'll take a look at Group B and check out the bracket there, see what's been going on. This is slightly embarrassing for me, Launders, because at the end of yesterday's, well, at least our role in the show, I mentioned I wasn't sure if Emmy was the right person to get Godsent up the rankings. And then what happened?
They all doubted Emmy. They all doubted Emmy, only for the perfect storyline to come into play. Emmy joins Godsent after being cut from Contact, after coaching, after winning DreamHack Rotterdam 2019, joins Godsent, and has some of the most impact on the team and helps them take down Astralis. Guess who knew it was coming? Okay, your boy Launders, all right? I believed in Emmy. Crystal, Emmy, the stats, you're really, I mean, you know, they're both kind of bottom fraggers at times, but Crystal was a little bit too low. Emmy, I felt like had a lot of potential from what we saw at DreamHack Rotterdam in their win in the finals over Heroic. Okay? I thought there was a chance that he could find a new lineup after floating around in the Tier 2, not doing too well with the right lineup and actually pop off. I'm drawing comparisons here with Esatag, someone who is a journeyman in Counter-Strike who comes onto Astralis and literally carries them through Pro League. These are a couple of players who, when they changed teams, became a lot better. What's with the screw face, Frankie? Talk to me.
I'm sorry, I can't believe you're comparing Emmy to Esatag. That is millions of dollars worth of difference in player.
But why?
Because of Cloud9,
Yeah.
to be fair. The money doesn't mean a thing.
Because of Astralis, Frankie. Before Astralis, what was Esatag worth?
Esatag was worth our love, affection, and appreciation, and finally
So was
he
Emmy.
earned it. Well, Emmy still hasn't found that appreciation, but I'm glad he's got it from Coach Lau, because if anyone knows anything about Counter-Strike, it is Scrawny, who I'm coming to next. You've also picked a match to talk about, and it's actually one we got to cover yesterday.
Yeah, the Mouse Sports versus Liquid game. The 2-0 that kind of just reminds us that Liquid aren't perfect yet. You know, a 1.23 rating from both Chris J and BMAS in that series. And I think that just goes to say that it's not the superstars in Frozen and Rops that we had seen in previous days that are always necessarily needed. I mean, don't get me wrong, on Dust 2, Rops was a god. And he just, yet again, kind of takes a step towards that absolute superstar potential. But just overall, this is a Mouse Sports that is starting to look better and better. The wheels are churning in the right direction, and Mouse Sports just reminding us that, you know, they have a very real chance at making a run to the top of Counter-Strike as we get to the end of 2020.
Especially as they're going up against Emmy next.
Yeah, I don't think. I think there are also problems with Astralis, right? And we talk about Glaze said they were going to change things up coming into the tournament. And it didn't work out too well. So we'll see how much they get better, but Liquid are going to be a pretty tough challenge, for sure.
Well, let's look at Group A now, because that's what we're kicking off with on the A stream this morning. Yesterday, Cloud9 Gambit, that was covered by Pimp Maniac and Banks, making their TriCast duo, and it was absolutely great fun. I've never heard Maniac cast before. His accent gets me every time, but he sounds absolutely magnificent. So don't miss them when they join the desk later on today. But let's actually talk about the Counter-Strike, because Vertigo was by far and away a masterclass for Gambit. No one is going to be doubting them after witnessing that performance. And Cloud9, they managed to sort of get it together a little bit, look threatening on Inferno. This is the map they probably played more than any other during their short tenure as a roster. But Gambit managed to come back. And to be honest, I thought that Cloud9 would have a chance in Inferno. The B site hold for Gambit is probably one of their weaker sites, but they managed to prevail because their T side is unstoppable.
Yeah, I don't know who picked what, but Cloud9 have problems on Inferno. Like when they played it versus Mouse, they had a lot of struggles. They played it versus I don't remember the last time they played it against Virtus Pro. They got absolutely stomped. So they're getting better, but it's still a very difficult map, and it shows, I think, for Cloud9.
I'm happy that Cloud9 maybe lose that game. I think Gambit kind of cementing their victory at the Open that just finished, now taking down Cloud9, denying what would have been the Colossus versus Juggernaut match again. It's too soon to get that grudge match a second time, I think. So we'll have to wait for that. I mean, Complexity moving forward, I think, are very good contenders if Config can keep this form.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule so you can see what matches are coming up today, because we have an A stream and a B stream, and over on the B stream we have Tom, Biz and Vince kicking things off. They'll have Fury Esports versus North. I'm just looking at Scrawny's face when I say North, because I don't know how he feels about them right now, because they've got a brand new lineup. I think he's going to... I'm really glad that you guys at home cannot see this right now. But we are going to be kicking off with G2 Esports versus Namiga Gaming, and then we're going to have ENCE versus Cloud9 in what I love to call the last chance saloon. ENCE actually very nearly won their match against Complexity yesterday, and we'll be talking about why after this short break. So do stick with us, because we actually aren't going to go to a break. And the reason we're going to go to a break on the desk, because Get Right, luckily, has decided to give us a little bit of a break ourselves, because he has actually taken up the interviewing reins for this tournament. And this time round, it's a case of someone who achieved everything in Counter-Strike talking to someone who is just about to. He spoke to Cadian.
For almost my entire life, playing Counter-Strike was everything, and it was everything I dreamed of. I won trophies, traveled the world, and played in the biggest arenas. I spent my career as a player being asked the same stupid questions.
How do you feel?
Over and over.
What went wrong?
And over again.
You had a terrible CT side. How did you turn it round to take the game? Why are Astralis the best team in the world?
But now I've decided to face a new challenge, to interview the players I once faced on the servers. Because if Frankie can do it, I mean, anyone can do it. So, hi Casper, hi Cadian. Thanks once again for taking the time. But
of course, Chris.
I want to take, the early stage of your career, because I remember back in 2013, you played actually the first major. How would you see yourself 7 years older now and look back to how were you, the small Cadian, if you can say like that? How was that person, if you can think back to that?
I was so young, obviously, and so inexperienced in both Counter-Strike related stuff, but also just life. Boy, I have learned a lot in the last 7 years. I remember sitting up on stage and I was like, wait, what resolution am I playing? Like all those kind of things, I didn't know shit. Like I just wrote my own PC and the settings were perfect from home. All of a sudden I had to play on the stage and I didn't know anything. Like what resolution was I playing? How to get my config in? All those kind of things. So I was a big noob back then, but yeah, definitely a big experience for us to manage to do that. To qualify for the major, I mean, that's what kind of kickstarted my career.
For a fellow competitor, where it's actually it tears, makes me tearing sometimes when I'm seeing you the first time with the NA team when you qualify for the major there. How was it for you in general? Moving across the world and playing with them and finally achieve that small tiny step, but it was a huge step for you personally. How was that in general with that whole team?
I saw that a lot of things had to be done in the team, but that there was also a lot of potential. And I think the organization took as good care of me as they possibly could. But people have to understand that this was not like a team where they were living in like the same state or city, or we had like a gaming house or something. Like they facilitated a very nice apartment for me, but I was completely alone. And I didn't talk to anyone. Like I could be for a week or 2 weeks without having any like real social interaction with anyone, like other than just talking with people through the PC. It was definitely tough, but yeah.
Would you ever believe when you joined back to Heroic and actually did this thing, would you ever believe, at least if someone told you beginning of this year, that you would be ranked #1 team in the world?
No, never. Like, never. There would not have been a chance. I remember joining, and it's very dangerous and bad to start thinking these things as a competitor, but I was starting to think, okay, maybe like top 10 or top 15, like for the rest of my career will do, right? Like making some deep runs, maybe we'll be lucky to lift a trophy or something. So there's no way I was expecting that. But I think especially when we made the roster changes of adding Tasis and Nico, and adding Hunter as a coach, I felt like also adding Hunter as a coach, I felt like this would be there would be some kind of X factor, right? Like this could either go very well or it could go pretty wrong. So I think it was a good chance to take, because we all saw how it ended now, and that we had our time as #1 and we're still fighting to do so. Right now, #2.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're asking me just shortly, I would never have expected it, no.
Thank you so much, Katie, for taking your time in this beautiful evening and from your playing and all that kind of stuff. And good luck on DreamHack Masters.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
What can you say about Cadian other than he really needs a pot plant in his background? I am seen that white background of him doing interviews so many times because he seems to be winning everything at the moment. And I'm kind of sad at how barren it is.
Yeah, well, that barren background is a complete contrast to Cadian as a person. This is a guy who's got a lot of character and who now I would say has this great success story that is not yet finished. It actually pains me to know that, for a period there, he was thinking to himself, maybe top 15 or so could do. Cadian is a champion. That is how his personality comes across. And so I think he's absolutely earned this bit of success, and I'm just fingers crossed that it keeps on going for Heroic.
Well, let's talk about what DreamHack Masters Winter means for the long-term future, because of course it's part of the ESL Pro Tour. And if Heroic win, for example, they're going to take 400 points because that goes to the top team from Europe. And I think we should actually take a look at where the points are at in Europe so far. I want to see actually where Heroic are on the road to Katowice, because that's our first marquee event, ESL Pro Tour. Our teams are collecting qualification points for
Definitely
both
well
Katowice
on the road.
and Cologne. Yeah, so they are really in a prime place. We're definitely going to see them at Katowice. So the same for Team Vitality. Astralis pretty secure, but if you look over in the right column, Team Spirit launders, if they do well, they could actually be in with a spot potentially.
Yeah, top 2 at this tournament might be a bit of a stretch for Team Spirit, but it's kind of like them on their best day throughout this tournament. They could take down a lot of the teams here in the top 6. So there's a chance that if that happens, they would move up way past into the top 6 immediately. So again, we're really tied up in 200 points there.
Scorny,
Yeah.
you ready for some Counter-Strike?
Hell yeah.
Hell to the yeah! We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to be kicking things off with G2 versus Namiga.